Howdy friendos, my name is Stuart, and welcome to my solution to people constantly asking me to do James Bond. I'm sorry guys, I just really don't care about that series. I mean, I'm still gonna do some of them for certain videos, but spy stuff just ain't my bag, baby. How bad was that imitation? Seriously, editor, give me a rating, 1 to 10. How bad was that? Actually, comments too. But what is my bag is bad 90s comedies, and nothing screams bad 90s comedies like the Austin Powers series. Sir Austin Danger Powers is a free-loving, hard-partying British spy presumably born in the mid-1930s. When he was a baby, he was taken on a trip by his Faja and left in a car during an emergency restroom stop. During that time, the car blew up in an assassination attempt, and Austin was ejected from the car to be raised by his father, who treated him more like a friend than an actual son. Years later, Austin entered the British Intelligence Academy to become an international man of mystery. During his time at the Academy, he was roommates with Dr. Evil, and that is where he would meet his future supervisor, Basil Exposition. Life passed, and Austin became a famous spy and teamed up with Miss Kensington, whose exploits made him a world-famous sex symbol. Yeah, baby. One day in 1967, Austin received word from Basil Exposition that Dr. Evil was planning a trip at the local swingers club. After sneaking into the nightclub, Austin foils an assassination attempt and witnesses Dr. Evil cryogenically freeze himself and launch into space, planning to return at a later date when his criminal empire was more ready for his plans. Knowing that he was the best option available for stopping Dr. Evil, Austin elected to have himself frozen as well so that he may be reanimated to return to stop him. Weirdly enough, I think that despite the fact that Austin is a wild, sex-crazed individual, I'm going to start him at lawful good. Austin is just a good aligned agent that serves Queen and country to the best of his ability and gave up his life and friends to be cryogenically frozen so that he could stop a threat in the future. Also, despite the fact that he is labeled as a womanizer, he refuses to sleep with women unless they are fully aware and consenting, even if he does have a hard time accepting no as an answer as a response at first. He is a product of his time and acknowledges this later in the first movie, and, you know, the world has changed. So, yeah, with that out of the way, let's go, baby. Oh, God. I'm so sorry.
Okay, name. Austin Danger Powers.
Cinema originally labeled this as a Nat 20 intro, and yeah, I kinda gotta agree with him. This goofy-ass opening sums up the character and the film seriously wonderfully. Nat 20 intro.
Hello, Austin. I'm Basil Exposition with British Intelligence.
Austin is given exposition by his boss, Basil Exposition, that Dr. Evil is planning on springing a trap for him. He goes in and is able to deduce the hitman who is in disguise.
Where's Dr. Evil, huh? Where is he?
Austin tries to interrogate Dr. Evil's location before the assassin is killed. He tries to stop Dr. Evil, but his arch-enemy escapes. Via cryo-freezing, lawful neutral.
Powers volunteered to have himself frozen in case Dr. Evil should ever return.
After Dr. Evil froze himself away, Austin volunteered to also be cryogenically frozen to stop Dr. Evil whenever he should return. He doesn't tell many people he's doing this, including his friend and former lover, Foxy Cleopatra from movie 3? Lawful neutral?
Evacuation beginning.
Awoken in 1997, Austin is met by Basil and the head of the US and Russian intelligence. Naturally, Austin is flabbergasted when he sees Russian intelligence after the Cold War and tries to hide his allegiance until he discovers capitalism won. Yay! When he discovers Dr. Evil has returned, Austin is ready to go again. Lawful good.
One Swedish-made penis enlarger pump.
Partnered with Miss Kensington, the daughter of his former partner, Mrs. Kensington, Austin gathers his collection and tries to deny one Swedish enlarger pump belonging to him. He also flirts with Miss Kensington, who has been assigned to make him accustomed to the 1990s. Even when she tries to set up boundary, Austin breaks it down to at least call her Vanessa, so chaotic neutral, I guess.
Pretty groovy jumbo jet, eh? When you see this jet a rockin', don't come a knockin', baby. Yeah!
Austin attempts to seduce Vanessa on his jumbo jet. He ignores paperwork and tries to suggest shagging. When she tells him no, he just uses the excuse of turbulence to fall over on her multiple times. He gets told off and he eventually accepts no as an answer, but then continues to play around on the bed. I'm just gonna go with chaotic neutral and we're gonna move on.
Shall we shag now or shall we shag later? I'm just joking, Vanessa. I'm just trying to get a rise out of you, that's all, for shits and giggles.
Arriving in Las Vegas, Austin tries joke flirting with Vanessa. Austin does get serious when trying to gather information from Dr. Evil's number 2 agent, number 2, and his henchwoman.
A lot of vagina.
It's just a shame that he's not skilled at cards or gathering information. Lawful neutral. Failing to find number 2, Austin is attacked by one of Dr. Evil's assassins. He managed to save himself and tries to get information before killing the said assassin. Lawful neutral.
That's Dr. Evil's cat.
How can you tell?
I never forget a pussy. Cat.
Spying on Virtucon, Austin begins to flirt with Vanessa more aggressively and eventually convinces her to go on a Las Vegas date with Burt Bacharach singing. I think I said that right. He's charming, kind, and has fun playing Twister. He even respected and doesn't kiss or take advantage of Vanessa when she's had too much or before she passes out. Lawful good, and this is super duper important.
I want you to find out what part Virtucon plays in something called Project Vulcan.
Austin is given instructions defining Virtucon's connection to Project Vulcan. He sneaks in, gathers photos before staying and seducing Latza for a shag. Lawful neutral?
Perhaps these photographs are the last piece of the puzzle.
On location, Austin delivers the information to Basil, gets a lesson on oral hygiene, and punches out Mrs. Exposition because she looked mannish in a joke that I'm sure everyone will agree has aged well and no one will say otherwise. Chaotic neutral. To be honest, the fact that the joke doesn't work kind of makes the joke work more for Austin. You feel me?
Look, I know I'm being neurotic, but I can't shake off this suspicious feeling about that Italian secretary.
Austin and Vanessa talk, where Vanessa, who is starting to treat their partnership as an actual relationship, apologizes about any paranoia due to being hurt in the past. Austin, trying to be polite back, admits that he did sleep with Latza and that he didn't use any protection or that he cared about the relationship. Vanessa freaks at him and tells him that he can't do that or have such free love. Lawful good, since Austin was open on his old logic that doesn't fly anymore and fully confesses to doing what he did, and he's trying to be honest. Reflecting on Vanessa's words, Austin begins to take a crash course on the lost decades. He obviously is stunned by a lot of the changes, but does try to actively restrain some of his more swingin' 60s actions. Lawful good.
I'll take him. You take her.
Sneaking into Virtucon, Austin and Vanessa attempt to sneak into their base to learn more. Unfortunately, they are quickly discovered and are forced to endure several guards. They are then sadly forced to kill one of the guards who had no time to dodge the attack. Nope, none at all. Eventually, they are stopped by random tasks, since Austin is trying to avoid killing random guards as best as possible, I guess. Lawful good. Lowered into a tank of ill-tempered sea bass, Austin is ready to soil himself when Vanessa gives him the idea to escape with some handy floss and toothpaste. Austin uses it to escape and kill a guard on the way with his well-placed judo chop. Neutral.
Oh, look, there's an emergency exit. Go get help. I'm going to stay here and keep an eye on Dr. Evil.
With an immediate exit available, Austin stays behind to stop Dr. Evil while Vanessa gets help. He does apologize for shagging Latza and commits to being a one-woman man. Lawful good.
Hello, hello.
Making his way through Dr. Evil's underground lair, Austin comes across the fembots. He actually tries to leave to save the world, but is almost seduced by the fembots. Using game mechanics borrowed from Corruption to Champions, Austin uses his mojo to end the encounter. Lawful good. Austin and the Ministry of Defense charge in and manage to stop Project Vulcan in the nick of time. Lawful good.
I've got you now, Dr. Evil.
Austin goes to arrest Evil and isn't bothered by Dr. Evil's mind games. He does try to hold Scott hostage to let Vanessa go. It was a bluff, though, since he let Scott go almost immediately. He tries to shoot an escaping Dr. Evil, but runs with everyone else out of the base. Lawful good.
I love you, Mr. Powers.
And I love you, Mrs. Powers.
3 months later, and Austin has married Vanessa. He's cleaned up his teeth and has kept his promise to stay monogamous. He even uses a Swedish pump that totally isn't his bag to defeat random tasks. Awful good.
Oh, and I'm spent.
2 years later, Austin is still enjoying the honeymoon phase of his wedding. Literally, he begins to notice Vanessa acting odd before it's revealed that she was a fembot all along. Gasp. Heartbroken for 30 seconds, he bounces back when he realizes that he's single again and goes to party it up. Chaotic neutral.
Show me to the models, baby.
Austin goes to his photo shoot with his models, one of which...
Ivana Humpalot.
An agent of Dr. Evil. He eventually seduces Ivana into not killing him. Weirdly self-defense... seduction? Neutral? Listen, guys, the second movie is really bad, so I'm going to blast past like 30 minutes of this. Austin discovers his mojo has been stolen in the past. Austin, with the help of Basil Exposition, goes back in time to stop Dr. Evil. Returning to the swinging 60s, Austin is met with CIA agent Felicity Shagwell and the new Dr. Evil assassin, Robin Swallows. Austin is forced to use a resilient Robin to survive his constant assassination attempts before fleeing. Eventually stopping Mustafa with Felicity, Austin abuses one of Mustafa's quirks to get information from him about Dr. Evil. He does leave Mustafa over a cliff after he fell thanks to Mini-Me. Neutral for all that shit twice.
Look at me, I'm a sexy bitch, baby, yeah!
After coming to Mod Cryo Lab, Austin decides to have a night on the town with Felicity. He does joke about the future before falling in love with her. However, discovering Fat Bastard stole his mojo from the past, Austin becomes worried about Felicity and his relationship. He dodges her advances without telling her anything more. Until he comes clean about it. Upon realizing Fat Bastard is nearby, they swing into action. All of that, lawful good. Arriving on the island, Austin and Felicity unpack to begin prep for their infiltration. They are immediately captured though, where Austin discovers Felicity slept with Fat Bastard to place the tracker. Austin, bitter about Felicity shagging Fat Bastard, makes petty remarks until she reminds him that she did exactly what he would have done, and has done, with underlings before. Convinced, Austin gets out of the funk and they escape. Lawful good.
We need to hitch a ride to the moon, baby.
Hitching a ride to the moon, Austin and Felicity arrive to stop Dr. Evil. They split up and Austin runs into Mini-Me, getting into a fight with the little bugger before launching him into space. Neutral.
Save the world or save your girlfriend.
Austin arrives to stop Dr. Evil, only to discover Felicity's been kidnapped and put into a death trap. With her urging, Austin saves the world, letting Felicity die. Lawful neutral.
Dr. Evil! I'll kill him!
Realizing Felicity is dead, Austin goes after Dr. Evil to kill him. Cornering him, he leaves Dr. Evil behind when his nemesis brings up that his time machine is nearby. Austin doesn't even seem to remember that he's lost his mojo. Returning 10 minutes from now, Austin teams up with past Austin to stop Dr. Evil. The two work together to save the world and Felicity, after acknowledging how they're sexy bitches. Lawful good. When seeing his mojo at risk, both Austins try to save it, only for the vial to be destroyed. Past Austin goes back to the past to become the future Austin, while current Austin... Oh God, I've gone cross-eyed. Anyways, he realizes his mojo is with him all along and escapes to the future with Felicity. Neutral good.
Judo! Oh, now, mommy, daddy button!
After taking care of Fat Bastard, Austin parties with Felicity and the world is saved. Chaotic neutral?
Hey, assholes! I'm right over here! I'm Mini-Me! Come and get me!
I mean, who wouldn't want Danny DeVito as Mini-Me? Not 20 casting.
So, Austin, what'd you think of the opening credits?
Austin oversees a movie being made about him. He dances and takes care of another fembot. Neutral?
Not so fast. You're surrounded, Dr. Evil.
Austin captures Dr. Evil thanks to a tip from a mole. He is subsequently knighted for his services for saving the world. Lawful good.
Come on, Dad, stand up and take a bow.
Knighted, Austin gives a standing ovation to his father, only for his father not to be there. He parties it out, depressed, and moments before he was about to fulfill something on his bucket list, Austin is notified his father was kidnapped. After he was knighted, of course. Austin goes to Dr. Evil for knowledge on his kidnapped father. One flashback later, and Austin is given a lead only after he promises to move Dr. Evil to a minimum security prison to be with Mini-Me. Lawful good.
I think I've got
Going to the past in his Pipmobile, Austin meets with a former lover, Foxy Cleopatra, working undercover at Goldmember's club. Finding his father and having an English talk, by the way, Nat 20 joke, Austin fails to save Nigel from Goldmember, who's been collaborating with Dr. Evil for leverage. When Foxy asks to come back to catch Goldmember, Austin brings her with, despite warning her the 2000s are a very different time. Little did he know what 2020 would be. Neutral good.
You've got mail.
After teaching Foxy about the internet, simpler days, Austin is notified of Dr. Evil's escape. He tries to compose himself with the mole, but fails. Chaotic neutral.
Jesus Christ, this diaper's making my nuts rub together.
Discovering Fat Bastard in Tokyo, Austin discovers that he's up to no good. Trying to sneak in, this does not work, and they end up fighting. Chaotic neutral.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. I thank you.
Going to Mr. Roboto, Austin and Foxy begin asking about Nigel's whereabouts. After some funny subtitle gags, the two head out. Lawful neutral. Austin goes to save his Faja while he trusts Foxy to get Goldmember, who gets away. Freeing his Faja, Austin teams up with Foxy and his Faja to drive his dad's Mini. That is quickly not going to be funny. He shoots at Goldmember but gets into arguments with Nigel. With Goldmember getting away, Austin and Nigel begin fighting over how best to handle stopping Dr. Evil. It quickly becomes personal before the two split off to handle it their own way. Chaotic neutral.
Assassin!
Returning to his hotel and discovering Mini-Me, Austin immediately suspects this is another assassination attempt. And to be fair, he has gotten plenty of them pretty regularly in the past few movies. Despite Mini-Me offering peace, Austin is dead set that this is a trick and mercilessly beats Mini-Me into submission. When he finds out Mini-Me switched sides, he apologizes. Chaotic neutral.
Mo! Bloody Mo!
Austin finally lets loose on the mole. Chaotic neutral. Austin, Foxy, and Mini-Me team up to infiltrate Dr. Evil's lair. The three work together, with Austin and Mini-Me doing their best to sneak through security. They do well with the disguise for a while and get past a physical before eventually getting caught. Austin lets Mini-Me get away to Foxy while he is taken captive. Lawful good.
Looking for this?
Rescued by Foxy and Mini-Me, Austin has the chance to kill Dr. Evil. Nigel comes and reveals the secret connection of Dr. Evil and Austin.
Dr. Evil's not your son. I am.
You both are.
Realizing the connection between him and Dr. Evil, Austin chooses not to kill his mortal enemy. The group bonds, much to Scott's frustration. Austin tries to help Scott, but Scott runs off. Neutral good.
Nobody say anything stupid or the shooting begins.
With Goldmember ready to flood the world, the brothers work together to save the world. Lawful good. Austin, Dougie, and their +1 attend the Austin Pussy premiere in peace. Neutral good, I guess. Man, we really had a weird standard for parodies for a while, didn't we? Austin Powers was kinda hard to do because if you look at my spreadsheet here, Austin is kinda all over the place. I tried my best to stick to a consistent logic even within comedy rules, but Austin Power movies in general just tend to take a really, really long stretch of time where they just stop doing their thing to try to be funny, and I'm saying that with air quotes. The second movie was especially egregious of this, where long stretches of movie just tell a lot of unfunny jokes and a shockingly long stretch of unfunny musical numbers. That being said, Goldmember was actually pretty good in giving insight to our weird comedy character. I read a lot of reviews somewhere saying that Austin wasn't randy enough for that movie, and a lot of people said he was just too contained, and I really don't see it. Austin is still all over the place trying to give backstory to the character while still keeping to the spirit of the original. And even though the family stuff is weird and convoluted, I feel it did a pretty good job of keeping the story on track, at least a lot better than 2 did. Anyway, there's not much to say. Based on the actions of the movie, Austin is somewhere in the good section of the alignment wheel, but where he ultimately ends up usually is just determined by whatever the writer thinks is funny at the time. Hell, the beginning of movie 2 sums this up perfectly. After the death of Vanessa, the status quo is reset and the writers just take our spy onto another adventure, just like what they do with every single James Bond movie. Not much to say, but tune in again soon for our Dr. Evil video, because honestly, he makes a lot more interesting decisions that I feel is good enough for a video on its own, so see you next time!